Today I Met is a conversation series that goes beyond small talk. We speak with people from our everyday lives and explore what makes us who we are. When you were younger, how do you think the world saw you and how did you see yourself?
I think I was like, I can do anything. Like,
confident.
The world breaks the confidence down.
Yes.
But like now that I have the perspective of being an adult, Black girl from a working class family in like a suburban rural area, I don't know like how like valued I might have been in the world in that sense.
Yeah.
I didn't start picking up on racism probably until like 6 or 7 when I was like, oh, I was like friends with this other boy down the street and he was white and I was Black and I was like, I want to go play with so-and-so and like heckling them to be like, oh, I don't know about that. It's like just starting to see adults kind of mold play time. Or even potentially like dating people in middle school or high school.
What are the ways in which you felt like you were being molded?
I think there was a sense of like, this is what it's safe for you to do as a Black child in Texas, and this is what it's not.
What's something you've learned about yourself this past year?
I have a finite capacity to do things with sanity. So if I have 5 energy buckets when I wake up in the morning, like by the time I get to work, I've like used up to just like navigating the street as a woman and being like, no, I don't want to talk to you. No, I don't want to talk to you. No, I don't want to talk to you. Or like being a person of color, just like
what wears down on you?
People at my job being like, oh, your hair is different. We're confused.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, now I got to explain hair.
So you've reached a place where you're like, okay, this is part of my life. This is what I have to deal with. Mm-hmm. And so how do you move forward from that?
I will always essentially have to advocate for myself and my value.
Yeah.
Being in the body that I am in. And that...
What does that advocacy look like?
Well, before we talked about that, I was negotiating a promotion at my job today.
Yeah.
Where I work, it's mostly white men. And me.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yeah.
The way people pick mentees or mentors or like looking at like shepherding people through their career, they align with people who might look like them or come from a background like them. Like when we hire new people, I'm like, how did you find another person exactly the same? Like what factory are you producing?
Yeah.
Is there like a little banker factory and you guys just like make new ones? It's a never ending
so people
fountain. People
are finding people to mentor who are similar to them or like how they perceive to be similar to them.
And a lot of that mentoring happens in informal ways of like over drinks. As a woman, if you're going out with a man and as a one-on-one thing, like you're always negotiating a separate kind of tension.
Absolutely. It's not a platonic thing. It's very gendered and you're trying to like keep it in a professional place.
Yeah. It's easier for them to just avoid being in that situation and learning how to do it. So I think humor really helps me get through negotiating different types of situations that I run into. Even at my job, there might be people who see me as a Black woman and they're like intimidated or they're like, oh, if I'm not smiling at my desk, they're like, she's mad. And I'm like, I'm working on a spreadsheet. Do you smile and spreadsheet at the same time? I don't think so.
Why can't this be spreadsheet face like everybody else?
You have spreadsheet face all day.
What are some ideas you've had to unlearn about beauty, age, gender, or sex?
People will see the value in you.
Oh.
I think education gave me a sense of like, if somebody sees my Stanford degree, they see me as valuable. Yeah. And I've had to unlearn that it's like, I still am who I am moving through the world and who they immediately see me as is not necessarily valuable. So for example, somebody might be talking to me at work in a certain tone and then they find out that I went to Stanford and they talk to me in a different tone.
Yeah.
I learned that I have to really like ask for what I want and like I have to be very assertive and extra clear, and that's not necessarily my go-to personality, but I've been working on it.
You are a dancer.
Yes.
Tell me about that.
I generally like being physical and I like moving and I love music. My dad is a musician. He played jazz trumpet and like was just around a lot of music.
How did you find your way to burlesque?
How did I find my way to burlesque? Dun, dun, dun.
What intrigued you about it?
I think it's a very risky art form and you get to have an alter ego. You get to step into sort of a larger than life version of yourself. Your most confident, bodacious self.
Yeah.
And burlesque is striptease. So you are literally getting undressed. So when I took the class, there's people of all shapes and sizes. So just to be like, this is my body and my body is beautiful, and feeling comfortable being sexy doing that. So you learn a lot about seduction and what it means, like what is sexy and how do you seduce. So for example, I'm using this pillow. So you learn that something is sexy if you are getting pleasure from it. So like as a performer, they teach you like unless you're enjoying it, the audience is not going to enjoy it, which is kind of like
a basic performance
performer thing.
Yeah.
Like if you're not having fun, they're not having fun.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're not feeling sexy, they're not feeling sexy. Same, very similar concept. So you learn to just indulge in things.
Oh wow, things are getting sexy. Very immediately
got sexy.
You stepped into that very quickly.
So you just learn to take your time.
Yeah.
A lot of what exudes sexy and confidence.
Yeah.
Is taking your time and just like sensing things. And after you do it, you just feel like a superhero.
There's a lot of dismissive language around dance and dancers. Can you speak to that?
I think for women of color, there might even be more pressure to appear on the classy end.
Yeah.
Because as women of color, they're already going to be seen as more sensual, just as a being. Mm-hmm. People all wear wigs with straight hair, curly hair. You don't see a lot of natural hair or kinky textured hair on stage because it's this is refined and classy.
What do you love about yourself?
Through dance and burlesque, I really love my body. I love taking care of my body. Boobs. So being in ballet, it's there's a specific body type, but they're straight line in the front, straight line in the back.
Yeah. You
start growing out of that, it's either you're going to get a reduction or you're going to do something else. And I'm having big boobs and doing ballet, it's complicated. And with burlesque, they're yes, have the boobs. And I'm
yeah. Yeah. What's your definition of beauty?
I think confidence and someone who's grounded in themselves is beautiful. It's a burlesque note that I've taken. But just people being comfortable in themselves is attractive.
Yeah. What makes you tick? What makes you get up in the morning?
Me coming to the realization that the life experiences that I had are of value and often are not represented in the world, and me wanting to share those with the world and knowing that it's a very complicated process of getting it from my brain to the world. Yeah. But that overall drive to share my story is a big part of what keeps me going.
I remember when I came out, I thought to myself, I am potentially throwing away my relationship with the person I love more than anyone. And it was almost until I was willing to throw it all away, I didn't really know what freedom felt like.